Good morning YouTube, this is Amisbro, and for this video we are doing another anime review. This time we are doing a season review for the anime Vampire Knight. Now Vampire Knight tells the story of Yuki Cross, a young lady on the disciplinary committee at Cross Academy. Along with aiding her on this journey is a young man named Zero Kiryuu, who in the subbed version of the anime, which is what we're watching, is voiced by Mamoru Mayano, one of the most talented seiyus I've ever had the pleasure of listening to, mind you. How do I explain this show to you? Well, here's the gist of what you need to know as far as the story. These two are on the disciplinary committee. It's their job to keep the day class and the night class, which are a bunch of perfects, elite students, otherwise known as vampires, from butting heads. And the idea for this class was so that the vampires could learn to study humans and learn how to coexist with them. The leader of this group of vampires is a man named Kanami Kuran, and he has a very special connection excuse me, to Yuki Cross. That connection is this: when she was younger, about 10 years prior in this story, Yuki was attacked by a vampire. The person who saved her was in fact Kaname. So, knowing this, she was living with the headmaster of a school, and he would always visit her. Kaname would. He cares very deeply about the girl in every respect that you and I couldn't even fathom. The idea of a human-vampire relationship just doesn't seem reasonable, right? Well, the thing is here is that it is a very personal relationship. Now, I don't mean in the respect you might be thinking when I say that. What I mean is, if someone that was another vampire were to try and jump her in the street while she went out, and they saw him somehow behind her, they wouldn't touch her, because he is a lord in the world of noble vampires. And that is something that needs to be discussed, because apparently what we find out in the story is there's many different ranks of vampires. There's nobles, which are what Kaname and his crew are. There's people who have been bitten and could very easily morph into a level E if not treated properly. I'll explain how that's done in a minute. And then there's just the degens, the complete degens, which are level E's outright. These are people, they just don't give a damn, they'll eat you. Period. And not give two shits. That's how it works. Well, apparently because of the fact that Zero was bitten, he is on the verge of degenerating into a level E monster, a vampire. And we don't want that. So, every so often, he would get this urge, when his eyes glow red, to want blood. Now, there's two ways a vampire can satisfy their need for blood. One is to bite the neck of a person. That's standard. But one was developed in the academy, which involves a pill that goes into water, and when it dissolves, the blood that's in there basically satiates the the urge for a vampire to want to suck a person's blood. And that's how most of the vampires that are in the night class go and satisfy themselves. Oh, and if you're wondering if these people just go around biting people, no. Believe it or not, they have abilities that are pretty neat. One, who's known in name is, I believe it's Shiki, he can prick his finger and turn that stream of blood into a whip. One, I'd have to go look the name of it. I think it was Ichigo, I believe. He's a skilled swordsman. You do not want to f with him. One can actually create an ice stream. Forgot his name already, sadly. Once they have Satsuki. Anyway, they all have different abilities, and to get to see them use their abilities either against Zero or even for the common good of trying to protect people is something pretty awesome. You know what I'm saying? Now, through the course of the series, we've noticed that there's a bit of a really fucked up love triangle going on around here. What we got is we got Yuki, who has the heart of a pureblood. In other words, she has a pureblood that is in love with her. But she also has Zero, who's consistently on the brink of now becoming a level E, and he needs her blood in order to keep himself from going mad. Now, I compared this series at one time during the live blog to a little series called Diabolic Lovers. When I get to that series, I'll explain why. But what is noted is, at least in this series, if Zero wants the blood of Yuki, she's very willing to give it. If it means he's not going to be driven mad and be turned into a raging monster. But what is also known is, or discovered is, he has a twin brother. His twin brother basically fucked over the mother and father and went with this psychotic woman who was a pureblood, and she was the pureblood that turned Zero into the raving lunatic, there's no other way for me to put it, that he's become. So you have that aspect of it. There are so many freaking layers to this story. The best episode for me is the 12 that we've seen, or 13 rather, because this season's 13 episodes, was episode 7. If you've never read the manga, you need to watch at least this episode. I would almost say do this, even though it sounds weird. Watch episode 7 and then watch the rest of the series, because episode 7 tells you so much about the relationship that Kaname and Yuki have, and it's such a special bond that it almost seems like there's no way on God's great earth that he will allow anything to happen to Yuki. He would, this is just me, I think Kaname would rather have himself killed than let anything happen to a person that he's pretty much been with since she was a kid. Since she was a young kid. And he protected her and he helped raise her in many respects with the headmaster. He did. That's what you're told. So you can't, it's hard to really look at him as a villain, because he's really not. If you watch the episode and you break it down as to why he does the things he does and why he sends out his court, we'll call it, or clan, to basically clean up lovely riffraff. And you know darn well that if Zero degenerates into that, he will have no recourse but to tell them to off him. Do you understand what I'm saying? It's a shame, but it's essentially what's going to happen. And when this particular season ends, some went down that could either put the pact between the night class and the day class in jeopardy, or it could cause a very interesting situation with Yuki. Does she really want to keep siding with Zero, or does she eventually want to go to the side of the vampires? And that is going to be when we start the next season. We will start that, by the way, on we'll start next week. We may do a Wednesday, Thursday situation for that, like not like we did this week, because we have excuse me, Terran Residence coming up Friday. That goes Friday, Saturday, and then Sunday, Monday is going to be Gekkan Nozaki-kun. So this coming season will be done more than likely on Wednesday and Thursday. But the question is, what do we think of this season? What do we think of Vampire Night? Whew. Well, let's do it this way. The animation. Okay, this series came out in 2008. So, if you're looking for any really stellar animation like you may see from Kodo's Basketball or Free, or even the latest season of Black Butler, you're not going to get it. Sorry. But for what you get for a 2008 anime, kind of like with, what was the series? Gekkan Heaven, which I think was 2006 for that actually, then you're going to love this. And you know, by the way, how you can tell it's an old school series? There's yellow subtitles. But what's even funnier is there are some words that were actually misspelled, and the way I've seen Yuki's name spelled was Y, 2 U's, K-I. But the way they've always spelled it in the series so far is with 1 U. Not that that matters, but is this series a violent series? It's not like over the top like, say, Tokyo Ghoul sometimes got. I mean, this was ridiculous. This did get kind of bloody towards the end. But it's almost like watching a really interesting romance novel. And that's kind of like one of the big things. I was thinking, the way the first 2 or 3 episodes started, it was going to hit 5th gear and then peter out towards the end. No, what I ended up with was a series where I felt for so many people on so many different levels it wasn't even funny. And I'm not joking. To get to see the way Yuki was trying to balance, being a disciplinarian, but also making friends with the night class, it seems, and also balancing her relationship with Zero and with Kaname, it was astounding to see how that happened. The character development, the way they, again, I'll use episode 7, the way they were able to tell you the story of Kaname and the way they told it of Kaname and Yuki was brilliant. The way that you could see the conflict between Kaname and Headmaster Cross was brilliant, because you know that he being Zero has this conflict going on internally. He needs blood now to survive, or he's screwed. So he's going to either degenerate and be killed, or he's going to be able to live on. as a regular functioning human being, just with vampire tendencies. So you have that development. Do you see what I'm saying? There was so much going on in this series that, okay, they did throw some things at you, and they did eventually gave you characters that you could look at as a antagonist to their protagonist. There was the teacher, whose name is Toga, who was actually the teacher of both Ichiro, who's the twin brother of Zero. So you have that layer, but then you had this other chick named Maria who came in, and that's when things just really went to hell. But I don't mean what the hell is it went bad, I mean what the hell is it went crazy. And that was something I wasn't expecting. But I loved it. I loved every second of it. The funniest thing is, somebody mentioned when I mentioned I was watching this show on Tumblr, they said, "You're watching that?" He said, "Don't get too attached to people, you'll end up an empty shell of yourself." No, if anything, I was getting pumped up and my adrenaline was starting to kick in towards the end of the series, towards the end of the first season. Like, I can't wait for season 2 now, to be honest, when I get to it. So, to get, again, back to the eternal question, should you watch this series? Goddamn right. Do yourself a favor. Go on Hulu and go look up Vampire Knight. Now, there are 2 seasons, Vampire Knight and Vampire Knight Guilty, okay? But they smashed them together under just the Vampire Knight umbrella. When we do season 2, it will be referred to as Vampire Knight Season 2, okay? Also, I'm going to put a link in the description for the theme song, the opening theme song of this season. Oh my god, it's probably one of the best I've ever heard. I'm not joking. Remember a brother group called On Off, actually. I don't have the name of it in here in front of me, but I'll make sure to drop it in the description for you. But yes, go watch this. If you love vampire series, please go watch this, because you're going to enjoy it. And if you don't enjoy it, I don't know what happened. You and I have 2 different things going on. You know, go check it out. Go check at least season 1 out, and I will see you again on Saturday after we do Terror and Resistance, when we go through the 11 episodes of that series. So, you take care of yourself. I will talk to you then, my friends. Later, gang.